Hey everybody, the purpose of this video is to get you some solutions to this confidence interval quiz. Texting and driving, car and driver study. Done texting, driving, comparing to drinking and driving. Interesting. Writing a text, reading a text, and also, over here, legally drunk while driving. So additional feet needed to stop a car going 35 miles an hour. So we're assuming this is, there's some mathematical calculations that when you have, dry, sticky roads, there's a quadratic relationship involving braking distance. So this is, I'm assuming, and I haven't read the study for about a year and a half, but I'm assuming this is feet above that needed. And I encourage you to check the article itself. It's actually pretty interesting. I bootstrapped these results, and if you don't know what bootstrapping means, you might be looking at the numbers going, wait a minute, there's a lot of the same number in here, 48, 60, a bunch of 58s, over here a bunch of 110s. You'll see why. I encourage you to keep that question, especially over here legally drunk, lots of 10s, 11s, and 12s. Keep that question in mind as we go through the course, and when we get to the third project, you'll understand exactly A, what bootstrapping is, and B, why you need to do it sometimes. So anyway, let's scroll down the quiz here. Construct the 95% confidence interval for the additional feet needed to stop a car at 35 miles an hour for each of these three factors. Please label each so I know which is which. Okay, so let's do just that. As a matter of fact, while we're doing this, I want to create a little Excel sheet to keep track of, or maybe a Word document. Let me think. What's the best thing to do? We'll do it in a Word document. We'll just keep that open right next to us and be able to keep. I don't think we need to do Excel because we're not doing computations. So we'll make a little table here and start a little 2x2 table. So we got reading text, spelled correctly, preferably. We've got writing text, and we've got drunk. Okay, slide that over. And what we'll do is, I've got those out of order, don't I? This is writing first, and then reading. So we're going to run each of those intervals in our TI, because as you remember from class, running them by hand is fine and all, except it's kind of a pain in the butt. I also do need to go back in here and check my data. I've got a few 1s where there should be 11s. Let me go fix those up. Double check the rest. I've already preloaded the data into my lists. I just said preloaded. I just loaded the data into my lists. So stat button, over to tests, and then you're going to scroll down and find T interval. There it was, T interval. Grab that bad boy. Oops, there you are. You've got data. Let's do L1 first, with a frequency of 1, because we listed everything in there raw, unless you used a distribution. All right, and it's going to tell me we've got about, let's see, 40, we'll call that 50 feet to 55 feet. Okay, so you can be 95% confident it's going to take a driver writing a text to take an additional 50 to 55 feet to stop. How about reading a text? Well, we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to do it. Oh, goodness, that's not the correct choice. I got it, choice 8. We're going to change to L2. L2. And we're going to run everything exactly the same. There we go. It looks like 95 feet to about 108 feet. Whew. This is additional feet. All right, and then last but not least, we're going to rerun on the legally drunk, which you can clearly see is much, much less. Not that it's good. I'm not encouraging anything here. About 11 to about 12. All right. So clearly, if you're willing to accept a little lack of overall confidence because you're doing 3 separate intervals, and more on that in class, we've actually already talked about it a number of times. We'll talk about it over and over again, about the fact that we're running 3 confidence intervals, all of which are at 95% confidence. Our overall confidence has actually gone down exponentially. We're at 0.95 cubed at this point, but don't worry about that right now. We'll deal with that in turn in the class. As far as ordering, least impaired would be legally drunk. So there's a 1 over here. Most impaired is reading the text, and number 2 would be writing the text. Minimally, how many more feet are needed to stop while reading a text than when legally drunk with 95% confidence? Well, legally drunk, the max is 12. Reading a text, the min is 95. That means you've got a minimum difference of, what is that, 83 feet. Minimally 83 feet. And then I put the little footnote on here. But so there you go. That's what we call the minimum measurable difference based on these intervals. And this is a little bit misleading when I said with 95% confidence. Actually, you're at 90% confidence because you use 2 intervals. But we'll come back to that. Don't worry about that so much. These were the solutions I was looking for this particular quiz. All right. I hope that helped, and we'll see you in class.